Hello, my name is Ed Ryan. I'm a DUI attorney here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'd like to talk to you for a couple minutes about breath testing. Fact or fiction? Breath testing is a tool used by prosecutors and police across this country to try to convict people of the charge of driving under the influence. Fine to use evidence against somebody, but if you're going to claim it to be science, it needs to be set forth in valid scientific principles and not something that's put together by a private manufacturer. The machine here in Tennessee is called the ECIR2. It's a product made by intoximeters out of St. Louis, Missouri. The people that make this machine are very secretive. They will not allow defense lawyers or defense experts to look at their machines or participate in any of their training. If it's valid science, and it's science that will stand up to the mustard, what are they trying to hide? Why will they not allow us to look at what their machine does and how it does it if it's valid science? Let's look at some of the errors that we know that are in breath testing. One of the things to look at if you're charged with a DUI case and there's a breath machine being used against you is what is the variation or the error rate that machine has. Tennessee, the ECIR2, has a known error rate of 5%, meaning all breath tests given in the state of Tennessee have an error rate of at least 5% plus or minus. That's without looking at any other challenges we know that could be up to 5% wrong. The other things that we need to look at are breath temperature. Breath temperature is a very important factor in chemical testing. The way a machine is working is it takes your deep lung air and converts it in this machine to give what could be your blood alcohol content. And part of the assumptions that are made, and there are many assumptions in breath testing, but one of the assumptions is that your breath temperature coming out and going into that machine is 34 degrees centigrade. That was the accepted number back in the early 50s to which breath testing became designed upon. The new studies show that the average person's breath temperature is actually 35 degrees centigrade. This new temperature or accepted breath temperature has been accepted across the country as the scientific norm now. It's even assumed accurate by the International Association of Chemical Testers, which is all prosecutors. They will all agree, and their memo says that the average breath temperature is now 35 degrees, not 34 degrees. Most people would say, well, what's 1 degree centigrade in breath temperature? Well, for every 1 degree higher over 34 degrees centigrade, that means your breath temperature, or your breath test is going to be 8.6% higher. So if you are actually the 35 degrees, which most people are, you're 8.6% higher than your actual breath alcohol is. That combined with the error rate built into the machine, each test right off the bat is going to be 13.5% wrong on your breath temperature, on your breath results. Those are just the two things to look at. There are other things that play into this. The machine assumes that you have a breath partition ratio or a ratio of breath to alcohol in your system of 2100 to 1. That's the accepted principle. The studies show that a person's breath partition ratio can vary anywhere from 900 to 1 to 3400 to 1. Does this machine calculate your breath partition ratio, and does it make adjustments when you blow into this machine? No, it does not. It doesn't adjust the temperature. It does not adjust your breath partition ratio. It just assumes that you are at 2100 to 1. Those are three things to attack. The other thing to look at is your hemocratic level in your blood. That's the mixture of water and blood cells in your body. Those are things that the machine does not take into consideration as well. Depending upon the hemocratic level in your system, that can be another 15% variation in any breath test that's given. The other thing to look at is your breathing pattern. The studies have now shown that a person that briefly holds their breath prior to blowing into the machine will increase that breath test up to 15%. In other words, when the officer says, take a deep breath and blow into this machine, if you hold that for a few seconds, that's going to elevate your breath temperature up to 15%. So if you start taking all of these errors in this machine, you can show that this is not valid science. This is a guess, this is an assumption to put a number on what you have consumed and how much blood is in your alcohol is in your blood system. The only way they can truly do that is through a valid certified blood test done the proper way, which is a topic for another day. The other thing we need to look at is the scientific method that they use in Tennessee. Tennessee is what they call a one-blow state. In other words, you only blow into the machine one time. The National Safety Council came out with a memo 2 years ago that said that is not the proper protocol in order to do breath testing in any state, considering even in Tennessee. The National Safety Council, in conjunction with the federal government, came out and said that the proper protocol is to do at least 2 tests. The protocol should be an air blank check to ensure there is no interference or nothing wrong with the machine, actual test, then another air blank to make sure that the machine has worked properly. You then wait for 2 to 3 minutes. You then do another blank check, the breath test, and another blank check. And then you can compare those numbers to have some scientific validity that these numbers were correct and that they were working, so that you don't have a 0.08 and a 0.25. They have to be some numbers that you can look at normally. That's basic scientific method 101. You have a hypothesis, you test it again, and you confirm your numbers. Another way to look at it is if you're building something, you measure something twice, so you only have to cut it once. That's good enough for our grandfathers, but obviously it's not good enough for the government. They go back to the, well, one test is good enough. We just want to put people in jail no matter what the science says. So if you take all these things into consideration, the fact is that breath testing is a misnomer. It is not science. It is a machine that bases a lot of assumptions, yet the government, the state, and the police are trying to use this as evidence against you and trying to put you in jail. Please, if you have been charged with a DUI or know somebody that has, and there's a chemical test involved, please consult with a knowledgeable attorney that can look at these machines and try to attack them. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, I would love to talk to you concerning your breath test or anything other phases of your DUI case. You can reach me at 615-256-7337, or for more information you can go to my website at www.tnduiguide.com. Please, if you have any questions, give me a call so I can try to help you. Thank you.